Hi, I'm Cliff, the nurse farmer. For this Healthy Green Thumbs video, Susan, the nature nurse, and I are going to discuss some of the pros and cons of growing from seed versus raising starter plants. Susan, why don't you go ahead and let's get started. Let's welcome our Healthy Green Thumbs friends.
Okay, Healthy Green Thumbs friends, here we go. We're going to talk today about to seed or not to seed. And the decision is totally up to you. Some of the pros and cons are simple. Basically, obviously, growing from seed takes longer than something that's already started. You can buy starter plants at your local garden center. Also, sometimes your local farmer's market will have some that are already started for you. We always suggest that you consider, if you can, to buy organic if possible and non-genetically modified if that's available, so that you have plants that haven't been tainted by genetics or by chemicals. So if you're going to do all this work, you may as well buy it organic and non-GMO if possible. Okay, so let's go ahead and go on to our next steps. So whether you decide to plant by seed or a starter plant, you want to watch and see what directions the plants come with. So for example, this cilantro, I'm going to plant by seed later today, and it's telling me it'll take 10 to 15 days to emerge, meaning that it'll sprout. I'll need to plant it a ½ inch deep in the soil, and I will have to, as they suggest, that I plant a group of 3 seeds every 6 inches in a row, and then space the rows 8 inches apart. So that tells me the spacing. Now this tomato plant comes with instructions, even though it's already started. We're going to go ahead and take a look. So it tells us how much sun. We need at least 6 hours of sun. We're going to space it 36 inches apart. We're going to bury at least 2/3 of the plant. And maturity, meaning when it will be producing tomatoes, will be 65 days after planting. Okay, so I wanted to go ahead and demonstrate actually planting these seeds. So I'm going to plant them here in this box, and like it said, we are going to plant 3 seeds every 6 inches and space them 8 inches apart. So basically, and it doesn't have to be perfect. So if you're like a perfectionist, or someone who really follows the colors and the lines, go easy on yourself. Just make a little dent, because we only have to plant them a ½ inch deep, which really isn't very much. Now you notice I'm not using gloves today. Whether you decide to use gloves or not is completely up to you and your comfort level, but there is some science to show that exposing ourselves to the dirt and the microbes in there is good for us. So even if your kids go out and play in the mud, and as kids we used to play outside all the time, and our Barbies, and we'd make mud pies and stuff, and it's probably why, knock on wood, I'm so healthy today, adding that to the factor. But I'm going to go ahead and just take 3 seeds and drop them in together and space them. So 1, 2, 3, they're tiny seeds. I don't know if you can see this or not. See there? And I'm going to clump them together about 6 inches apart. Again, it doesn't have to be exact. You don't need to go out and get a ruler. If you drop more than 3 seeds in, it's not the end of the world either. I'll drop a couple there and a couple there. And there's nothing better than nice fresh cilantro, and just gently dust over, because it's only a ½ inch, the soil. And this soil I have mixed in with some really good organic compost, which you can get if you happen to have a compost pile in your yard, or you can buy it in bags, or if you live near a farm, you can pick up some manure that's been around for a while. And again, I'm going to drop these seeds in the row a couple inches apart, about 6 inches, and just dust the soil over. And there we go. And so as you can see, I still have quite a few seeds left in my hand and quite a few left in the packet. So when you're deciding to seed or not to seed, one of the factors can be cost. So for example, this pack of cilantro seeds is $1.99. That tomato that I showed you earlier, I think was $3.99. And when you think about herbs, and if you bought them in the store in a little package, it would probably be at least $1.99 for a package just with a couple of shoots. And once you bought it, you were on the clock to use it because obviously they disintegrate pretty quickly. So being able to pick it fresh from your yard, you have more ability to time it, go out and pick your herbs or your produce when you're ready, within some limits. So I'm going to save these seeds. I'm going to wait a little while, and I might sow another row or two in a week or two so that I stagger the crop. Okay, so once again, to seed or not to seed, totally your decision. Hope these tips help, and don't forget, show us your healthy green thumbs.
Susan, let's wrap up and talk a little bit more about the pros and cons of growing plants versus growing from seed. You mentioned one of the disadvantages of growing from seed is that growing from seed can take a little bit longer. Now, as an experienced farmer, I know one advantage of growing from seed is the ability to pick and choose varieties that maybe aren't available at the local market or maybe might cost a little bit more money. Do you agree?
You're absolutely right, Cliff. When we grow from seed, we do have a much greater choice of varieties. In fact, this year I only grow small tomatoes because I'm really not good at growing the big ones, so I leave that up to the farmers. But this year I grew these really small, tiny little cherry tomatoes, which are really sweet. And then my favorite sun gold tomatoes, which are yellow. And then this other variety, and I'm sorry, I forget the name, but it's kind of a multicolor. It's kind of in the Cherokee purple family from what I've been told, and they've been really delicious. So when you chop them all up and you put them in a tomato salad, it looks really pretty and delicious.
Of course, growing established plants has advantages too. Growing an established plant that that we bought from a nursery can mean less time and less work having to nurture the delicate seedlings, and this can be particularly helpful for, working adults, working parents who are raising children. That can allow us time to focus on other things like helping our kids with homework, picking kids up from school, shopping for groceries, things like that.
So whichever way we choose, whether we grow from seed or starter plant, it's all good because we're getting those great benefits of being and engaging with nature. In fact, there was a study recently done that showed that we need a minimum of 2 hours a week to reap the healthy benefits of engaging with nature, and that improves our health and well-being. And while gardening can be one way of getting that nature dose in, you didn't have to actually be active. You could just be out sitting in the garden and doing nothing and still get all those great benefits. So there'll be more research done, and personally I think that we don't really need to sit there and time ourselves or anything, but it's good to know that we need at least 2 hours because it's a little scary these days how much time we're spending indoors, especially kids, so try to get outdoors as much as possible. And just one last note is that because we know that so many of our Healthy Green Thumbs community are at various levels in their knowledge and expertise with growing plants, we are going to add 2 additional videos, bonus videos, in our newsletter, and we'll probably post them on our YouTube channels as well at The Nature Nurse and The Nurse Farmer. The first one will be on where to plant outdoors, so we're going to have some suggestions in that video. As you can see in my background, I use planter boxes only because our soil is pretty poor down here in North Carolina, at least once in developments, because they scrape off all the topsoil and then we're left with the clay base. And then the other video that we're going to add is going to be on staking and vertical growing, which is becoming more popular as more of us live in tighter spaces. We're trying to grow up and maximize our space for growing. So we hope you find those helpful.
Great. Thanks so much, friends. We hope you're feeling inspired to grow some plants of your own. Please, please, please be sure to share some of your plant growing pictures with us on social media, giving your Healthy Green Thumbs up, and use the hashtag Healthy Green Thumbs. Take care, and we'll see you soon. Bye.